Hello, everybody. Daniel Gaines here, sitting outside enjoying this nice heat. Just got a little something I want to put out there. Just something that I want to say because there is a lot of parents, predominantly fathers, but there are mothers in this as well, who get their rights violated all the time by these crooked, corrupt bastards in the family law courts and such like that. So I just want to put this out there. I try to advocate for fathers' rights and stuff like that. And if I'm just going to sit on my ass and only deal with my case and not try to offer help to others or anything like that, then what really can I say? What really can I do? It's one of the things. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. Fathers' rights is something that needs to be addressed. It needs to be corrected, the problems in the system and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to do more than just deal with my own case. I'm going to put this out there for people. I'm going to leave this video. It's going to be fairly short, but I'm going to put this out there. If you're dealing with the state of Washington, if you're a parent and you're dealing with the state of Washington, and it pertains to family law, it pertains to dependency, you're dealing with CPS, any of that, hit me up on Facebook, Daniel Gaines. It's a picture of me in a blue button-down shirt with khakis. That's my profile picture. Send me a message. I'll give you some information that'll help you out. I'll tell you some things you need to be doing to cover and protect your own interests. I'll give you a bunch of case law you can use to help in your case. And I'll also be the first to tell you, when you start making a stand for your rights, the first thing they're going to want to try and do is bring up Washington case law. Okay? That's their first automatic go-to. Well, Washington case law says that this, and this, so it doesn't matter, blah, 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 type of bullshit, right? The thing that they won't tell you is Washington case law allows for the violation of the rights of the individual, the parent, whether it's the father or the mother, predominantly the father in that state, as the case with a lot of states, unfortunately. But Washington case law actually violates the rights of the individual, constitutional rights. We're talking multiple in the Bill of Rights and the 14th and 15th as well. As such, since it's a constitutional issue, even the dependency courts in the state of Washington are required to uphold your rights. Now, they don't want to, because then they have to be able to. Then they're required to charge you less for child support if they give you more rights to your children, and when they give you more rights to your children, it causes less child support, and when that happens, they get less Title IV defunding, which means that if they run their child support numbers too low, they run the risk of completely losing that federal funds. So that's why they violate the rights of somebody. However, you do have rights. They violate the Constitution and everything else, which actually opens them up for legal action, liability and stuff like that. You can actually sue them for violating your civil rights. And that's exactly what they do. It's a civil rights violation. So you actually have options. CPS, I'll straight tell you, they're going to lie. They're going to fucking violate your rights. They're going to get on some shady bullshit. So I'll tell you straight up, your best bet, record every fucking conversation you have with them. I don't care what Washington law states. Washington law states that Washington is a two-party consent state, meaning that everybody involved in the phone call or anything like that must be in consent, must give their consent for it to be recorded or anything. That's what they're going to tell you. They're going to cite the Washington law, which is RCW, 9.73-190-130, something like that. I'd have to look. I've got it wrote down, but they're going to try to cite that. What they won't tell you is, when it comes to violations of your civil rights, that actually changes things legally. I mean, it's legit. You can look it up and everything else. When it comes to protecting your civil rights, you actually have options that get around certain laws. Now, you're not allowed to blackmail with that recording. You're not allowed to disseminate that recording, but you can make those recordings to protect your interest in a court of law, especially whenever you file the appeal for a civil rights violation. Your best bet, record. If you record, it's not your word against theirs anymore. Because let's be honest, the judges are going to believe them. No matter what proof you have are just about, no matter what claims you make pretty much or anything like that, the judges are going to believe them because they're all in bed together. It's an incestuous, corrupt system. They're all in bed together. Attorneys, all of them. It's all of them. Don't let them bullshit you or tell you. There's very few attorneys that'll actually rock the boat and challenge the system. It's understandable, not right, but understandable to an extent. Not fair, not right, but it is what it is. Either way, though, the CPS workers, the state, the courts, they're all in it together. There is no debating, no arguing, or no nothing about that. That's all there is to it. The state's always going to be in bed with the courts and everything else, especially when it comes to state and potentially federal funds. They're going to do whatever they got to do to keep that money coming. Now, knowing your rights is vital. There's all kinds of case law, literally, from the federal courts, from the Supreme Court, from the district courts, and everything else. Know that, because that supersedes any state law. The Supreme Court decision, no state law can go against a Supreme Court decision. And if they do, you actually have grounds for illegal action. Period. When they violate your rights without due process of law, without proof, without evidence, because they're supposed to have evidence, and hearsay is not sufficient evidence according to the law, which is false claims without proof. So without your due process, then that's whenever you all need to start looking into and checking into Title 18, Section 242. Start getting on your game. Look at what the Supreme Court said you need to do in order to proceed a legal action with that, because part of the requirements for a legal action for violations of Title 18, Section 242, which is deprivation of rights under color of law. Learn that. Be very familiar with that. Learn your rights and be very familiar with them. Part of what's required based off what the United States Supreme Court has said, if somebody is guilty of a violation of Title 18, Section 242, you need to send them notice of your intent to pursue a legal action and let them know what their violation was. Give them an opportunity to correct it. You are also required to contact the highest judge in the court, the chief judge, if you will, and notify the chief judge of what's taking place and everything else. Now, due to my case with CPS being involved in everything else, I'm sending CPS caseworkers the notice. I'm sending the CPS attorney the notice. I'm sending the the managing assistant attorney general in Pierce County the notice. I'm sending the attorney general of the state of Washington, Bob Ferguson, a notice. I'm sending the judges all involved, as well as the highest ranking judge in Pierce County, all notice. I'm sending everybody a notice. That way I'm covered, because I'm going forward, because Terry Farmer, a commissioner in Washington, has already violated my civil rights and did so in a court order. So the notice, she'll get her notice next week. She'll have about a week to respond or correct her mistake, which would be the response. If not, I proceed with the legal action. CPS, the state of Washington, they're also getting put on notice. They'll have about a week to correct their errors to this point, start upholding my rights, and correct everything that's been wrong in this case from the start, or I proceed with the legal action. But it still comes back to knowing your rights and everything else. If anybody out there is dealing with the state of Washington, dealing with CPS in the state of Washington, dealing with CPS in any other state, or any state like that where they just want to violate your rights, anybody who's in this thing, man, I'm telling you, hit me up on Facebook. Daniel Gaines. This ugly mug right here is the face you're going to see, just without all the facial hair and a haircut. You'll find me. Blue button-down shirt, khaki pants. I'm in actually the dressing room for my appearance on the Dr. Oz show. And that was in March, whenever I flew up to New York to do the appearance on the Dr. Oz show. That's what my profile picture is. Send me a message, and I'll talk to y'all. I'll tell you all the information you need to be able to beat these courts. Straight up, I'll give you the information. I'm not an attorney. I'm not offering legal advice, but I will offer you the case law that I have that you can apply in your case, because, oh yes, it matters in every single case. They just don't want you to know that. They don't want to tell you that. And they're not going to uphold your rights unless you force. Keep in mind, you rock the boat, they're going to get pissed. They're going to start making threats. They're going to come at you hard. When you back down, you are then their bitch. Period. If you back down, they're going to walk all over you, and they're going to screw you royally. When you stand up for your rights, when they get mad and push back, stand firmer. Assert your rights even more, and then tell them, violate my rights, I will pursue a legal action. One way we're going to get change is if we sue these bastards enough, sue them to where these people are losing their jobs, to where they can't keep judges in these courtrooms because they all keep getting sued for violating rights and end up getting pulled from the bench for constant civil rights violations. Then they're going to have to start addressing where the problem lies. Then they're going to realize they're the problem. Then we're going to get change. Because otherwise, ain't nobody else going to do shit for us. They're going to keep violating our rights and everything else. Because let's be real, the way this shit works, it's the individual's responsibility to know their rights. It ain't the government's job or responsibility to tell you your rights. I don't care if you like that. I don't care if you don't. I don't care if you want to hear that or not. That's the cold, hard truth of it. It ain't nobody's responsibility to educate you on your rights other than yours. It is 100% your responsibility to know your rights. Get to work. Get going. Get to learn your rights. Know your rights. Know your case law. Who cares? Don't worry about state case law. State case law is irrelevant because a lot of these states, their case law is going to allow them to violate your rights. Learn what the Supreme Court and the federal courts have said. That supersedes state courts. They have to comply with federal guidelines and federal laws, period. Family law courts receive Title IV defunding, which means that by law they are required to uphold federal statute and code and everything else because they're receiving federal funds. Don't let these fools play you, because they will. Learn your rights. Anybody who needs a little help and encouragement or direction on where to start looking, again, Daniel Gaines. Send me a message on Facebook. Sorry about that, pardon me. I can't promise I'll respond immediately or instantly, but I assure you I'll see it. I'll hit you back. I mean, I'll tell you the information that'll help you can go to and start looking for to help you out in your cause. That's all I got right now. I'm going to sit outside and enjoy this nice day a little bit longer, and then I'm going to go in. I'm going to go over that last declaration of mine and stuff like that. So, yeah, anybody needs help, hit me up. I'll point you in the right direction. All right, y'all have a good day. Bye.